Hold on.
Okay. It's your operating system.
Good afternoon.
Today is Monday,
April 1st. I mean, Fools.
April 2nd, 2011. 12. And you are listening to Room 3026 live.
So refresh your browsers.
Yes. Episode
497.
approximately. This is a 60-minute conversation ranging from technology to pop culture and all points in between most of the time.
Yeah, we are your hosts. This is.
With the mostesses?
Yeah, and we're broadcasting live right here in Durham, North Carolina because it's lunch hour in the Onyx Tower. Today, our host is gone, so it's just me, Mr. Doozit, and the world's funkiest man, Mr. Derek Brinson.
Stay funky, my friends. As always, we encourage, in fact, we thrive on listener participation. You can join the conversation by calling us. Call me now.
Yes.
Via the telephone. That's 646-929-2689. 646-929-2689. You can hit us with Skype or Google Voice. That stuff works. Or through the chat window found at blogtalkradio.com/Damon Nolan. Click on today's episode. There's the red streaming banner across the top that says on air. You click on it and there you are.
Yes. We want to give a special thanks to Mr. Darren Tyler for providing our theme song, Without You, because without you, we would not be here today. So
Well, we might be here today, but we would just be like by ourselves talking about work stuff, which is kind of sort of what we're doing anyway.
we used to do that, though.
Yeah. It used to be just us, in episode 1 and 2 and such. So you have built this thing up, and for that we thank you.
Yeah, man. So thanks.
Thank you very much.
And
In today's broadcast, it's a free-for-all. It's open phones. It is improvisation. It is word association. It's jazz.
if y'all can see me, I'm doing my hands awkwardly. I'm trying to impersonate jazz. Hold on, let me make sure it cuts off. Hold up.
Yeah, I thought fearless leader Damon Nolan was gonna be. He emailed in. He's feeling under the weather, so I thought he was gonna come in and do the show under the weather, so he wasn't like spreading sickness throughout the Onyx Tower. But no, apparently it's just not to be.
Ghost.
He's laid out.
Gaunt.
Well, yes, it could very well be not laid out at all, just playing hooky. And
I ain't say that, Damon.
I'm just saying anything is possible. That's all I'm saying. Anything is possible.
So,
highly unlikely, being that he's very, very stable, steady, consistent man. But it could happen.
So true and very true.
So there we go.
So how was your weekend, man?
My weekend was glorious. I mostly spent it with my lovely wife. She had some work stuff she had to do that I wish that I need to learn from her how to be somewhat constructive, productive over the weekend. She did some stuff, and I laid around and watched some television, and it was good. And my band played at the Big Easy. Those children are rowdy. They drink heavily, and the band tried to return the favor. So Sunday we just laid around.
So you April Fool's nobody?
No, I did not.
You get April food?
No, I laid around and stayed pretty much out of sight. Just kind of.
Man, you lucky, man.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't intended like that. It was just, I was just kind of. It just played out like that. It wasn't like I was hiding or anything. It was just like.
It just didn't happen.
Yeah, I'm really tired, and I'm gonna kind of lay low at the crib watching television, like basketball. Hey, so how's your weekend?
Man, mine was really, really good. I saw Immortals over the weekend. I used Google Play to watch it.
Huh?
I had to give up $4 though.
Well, dude, that is just the new normal, which is actually what the old normal was always pretending to be. You're supposed to pay for that content that you watch.
Yeah, I did. I did a lot of searching trying to watch it without having to pay. But I was just like, man, let me just go ahead and chalk
You
up
know, there it
the
is.
$4.
You have touched on that thing to which I have become. You know, the content itself is so cheap. I know how much I make an hour, and if I spend 99 cents for a piece of music, it is better than spending an hour trying to go someplace where I can download it for free, and it may or may not be what it is.
And I can watch it up to 30 days too.
Dude, I'm just saying,
So-
it is just. It's not that hard to do, but in my world these days, it's just not worth the effort
Yeah.
to go and get hot wired content. Life is short. I ain't got time.
Oh,
Time or
yeah.
money, either way you pay. I'm
know-
thinking the older I get, the more I prefer to pay with money. By the way, as it turns out, I am a member of like this little Groupon book club kind of thing, and that book that you were talking about, I have for you.
Oh, word?
Yeah.
Cool. Oh yeah, something else too. I did participate in some April foolery.
Oh, do tell.
Yeah, I got a lot of people with my April Fool's joke was that I was moving back to Cincinnati because I got a job at P&G doing advertising. So
That's a good one.
I had cousins calling me, old friends from high school, saying, "Oh, you coming back to the Natty?" And I had all my frat brothers thought I was leaving and all this other stuff. So I let it ride till about
So
like
you
4
got
o'clock.
'em?
Yeah, let it ride till about 4 o'clock, and then I did the whole,
Nice.
April Fool's thing. So,
And-
hey,
and-
Damon, I don't know if I got you or not. I couldn't tell by your tweets yesterday, but I'm gonna go ahead and just say it on the air that you was fooled. And also, I found some good news. I'm probably gonna disclose a little bit later on. Probably not in this episode, but sometime in the future. But
You know what?
it was a good weekend.
Good to hear. You need to crank up the chat room.
Yeah, my bad. I just got it open. So right now, let me shout out Ego Ant because he's the only one in there.
That's
right
probably
now.
because you had it locked up for. you had the chat room on lockdown for a minute.
He just walked in too. He's just said
You just walked in
funny,
because
I
you just
came in-
unlocked the door.
He said, Ego Ant says, funny, I came in a little late because I was listening to your other podcast.
Ah,
And by the way, Ego Ant, man, I was listening to your podcast before the show and I actually checked out the 8-bit funding I think you were talking about. And that's a cool site, man. Some of those guys got some cool games up there. So good looking on the podcast and good luck. Can't wait for episode 2. So, yeah.
cool.
We got
Cool.
more people. What's up? Miss Eileen, DB Funky.
Miss Eileen in
Chill.
the place. Who we love.
Yes, we do. I don't-
Miss Smith, if you've bathed.
Yes.
You know,
So Miss
see
Smith.
that the turnaround of the misdirection of the if you're nasty. There you go. So, where we gonna start?
Wherever you want.
Let's.
Let me start off by saying this.
Uh-oh.
Today is the last day or last game of March Madness. So lucky for you guys, this is probably the last time I talk about basketball. What the draft is coming up. So
Well, yeah.
I'll talk about that. But I want to say go Jayhawks. I hope you beat Kentucky, even though you probably won't.
No,
But go Jayhawks.
Kentucky.
Do it.
Kentucky
Beat the freshman
they're
monstrosities.
they're the second coming of the Fab Five. I'm afraid.
Yeah, except they're gonna actually win the whole thing as freshmen.
Yes.
Well, there's one sophomore, but they're young.
So let's kick it. Let's hit Feed Watch.
All right, I'm about to try to hit Feed Watch. So if you get something else, it's my operating system.
I see what you did there.
Feed Watch.
Feed Watch. What is Feed Watch?
I think it's where we, you, me, and Damon constantly comb the blogs.
Because we ain't do that
So-
today. we were depending on David to comb the blogs, and he did not do that. So this is where we are short.
So y'all don't have to be, but unfortunately, you might be.
This is the news that you can use. That is what we do. We'll figure out a way. We'll find something.
And you won't lose, and you won't sing the blues. And that sounds like boo-hoos.
Yes. Nice.
I didn't mean to do that, but
Well,
that's
that
what
was
happens.
that was a happy accident.
That's what happens when I'm running this.
I like. Well done, sir. Okie dokie. Let us start with some Hollywood news, shall we?
That's cool.
It's the guy that replaced Charlie Sheen on Two and a Half Men.
Who is?
Mr. Demi Moore, the former Mr. Demi Moore, Ashton Kutcher. He's actually signed on to star as Steve Jobs. Airs an independent film called simply Jobs. That's according to Variety magazine. The film will chronicle Steve Jobs from wayward hippie to co-founder of Apple, reports the trade magazine. And Kutcher is going to shoot the film in May while on hiatus from the Two and a Half Men sitcom. Five Star Institute's Mark Hume is set to finance and produce the film. You know, it is cheaper and cheaper to produce independent films. You know what? In your camera, you have more and better filmmaking technology than was available to even the best studios in the 40s and 50s, and maybe as late as 1960. I don't know, as late as 1975. You were walking around with your phone with more and better equipment to slice it and dice it and chop it all together into a cohesive film. You can do it. Anyone can do it. Well, not anyone, but so the financing to have actually a whole lot of really good equipment to get the audio and the other stuff. So it's more than just the camera, and you got to buy the story, whoever wrote it. Anyway, when Jobs passed away in October, Kutcher took to Twitter to express his condolences. You know, Kutcher, as far as that generation of actors go, he is very, very much a cutting edge kind of technology enthusiast as opposed to bleeding edge, and he has shown his hind parts more than a couple of times on the Twitter, but that haven't been the case. He thought I could never be so busted up about the loss of someone I never met. So sending love and light to everyone at Apple and the entire family. Today we lost a giant who will be missed even by those who didn't know him. Doesn't sound like an April Fool's joke to us.
I don't know about this.
What?
So he's going to play Steve Jobs?
He's going to play Steve Jobs.
It could work. I don't know. I'm scared. And I'm saying I'm scared.
You know, if this were one of the major motion picture houses, I would not have, this story would not have tweaked me. But the idea that this is an independent film company, it may very well be fun and cool and not so I don't know, so cookie cutter. It could very well be a good story. For me, this is where most of the good stories and movies I want to watch are coming from. I am moving away more and more. By the way, finally saw Sucker Punch.
Yeah, so what you think?
I thought it was really cool.
So do you see that why the hate comes?
No, I don't.
I do.
I do not see where the hate comes from.
I mean, it was a good story to me.
It was a fine story. It was a fine story, and it was really well delivered. And the conventions that they used were not so commonplace, kind of half dream world, half reality. The fight scenes were great in that video game kind of way. The visuals were really, really compelling. I liked it. I was actually watched Game of Thrones last night, and it came on after Game of Thrones. I said, I've been meaning to watch this. It came on HBO.
That's cool.
Yeah. So there you go.
Shout out to Dyslexic in America there in the chat room, and what up, Tim Arthur. And Tim Arthur says, as soon as you made your posted that news story, Tim Arthur says fail. Better than Noah, Wildo, and he played him in the Pirates of Silicon Valley War years ago. So.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
So yeah, I'm still
Was that
scared.
the one where Anthony Michael Hall played Bill Gates? No, that was a different one, but that was a good one too. That was Barbarians at the Gate. That was an HBO movie. So wow.
So this should be better.
This guy, this Tim Arthur guy, is just a walking, talking.
Yeah, when it comes to the movies, man,
filmic encyclopedia. For Pete's sake,
he holds you down. He does.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, Ego Ann says, yeah, that's a big mistake. They need someone who can be way more evil. Maybe Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman. He's one of my favorite actors. There's something terribly
and Tim says, yes, it was.
With that guy. I don't know what it is.
Tim says, yes, it was to your question, I think. So,
yeah.
So, yeah. So,
there we go.
All right, what else you got?
What do you mean, what else I got? You ain't got none?
Man.
See?
Nah.
See, you should have been digging while I was reading.
Man, I was working.
What are you working?
I'm trying to get the chat room straight.
Are you coding? Do you code?
Who, me?
That was just an open-ended question for anyone and everyone.
Yes, we all do. Majority of us do.
Well, if you're learning to code, and this is something that I recommend, Code Academy.
Oh, yeah, I'm down.
Code CODE.
Codemy.
See, don't do that.
Catacombs.
See, yeah, this is the joke that you did last time.
I know, it's funny.
It's Codec Academy. Code, and then instead of Academy after that, you just leave out the A.
Academic-y.
Yes. Codec Academy. It's like Code Academy, except for you leave out the A on Academy and make it into one word with the. So there you go. It started out as a JavaScript tutor, and it's very, very well done. The way that they form the lessons, and they use code to teach you code. You type in the code and into a window, and it shows the result and shows what you've done wrong in a way. It's a very, very well done.
I didn't know it did all that.
Yeah, go and get your JavaScript on. But the cool part about it, this coming from Mashable just a few minutes ago, about an hour ago. Despite its promise to turn anyone into a computer programmer through interactive online tutorials and its more than 1 million registered users, including New York City Mayor Bloomberg. That's right, Code Academy hasn't been equipped to teach the most basic programming languages until now. Today, the startup launched tutorials for HTML and CSS as its first non-JavaScript courses to date. I believe it also... was it Ruby or Perl that it also does? But JavaScript its JavaScript tutorial was its first flagship and just killer app. While JavaScript is used to build applications, HTML and CSS are the basic building blocks of web pages. New programmers typically learn how to use them before any other programming languages, including them on its site. Code Academy will become a more viable option for true beginners. They can be used to accomplish the fundamental things you want to do when you're building a website, which is what the co-founder Zach Sims tells Mashable. The site hasn't exactly had trouble attracting new users to its that's an interesting way of putting it. It's game-like. It's not like video games, but its lessons are very game-like. More than 400,000 people, for instance, have signed up for its New Year's resolution course alone.
I'm one of them.
You did that?
Yeah, that's how I know about it.
The biggest hurdle for the startup has been growing its content and pace with its user base. So in January, they announced a solution to this problem. A new teacher tool gives anybody the option to submit a lesson for the curriculum, thereby making Code Academy content curators rather than just creators. So you can go and find ways to learn other stuff through Code Academy. There is a very, very good Perl join in there, as well as... I believe it was jQuery that I've been playing with. I didn't stay around for the whole 30 days. I've still got 3 or 4 days left to do it from when I started. But that was a really, really good one. I think it came from Code Academy as well. So,
how much is this?
It's free.
Because we ain't trying to pay.
$0 and 0 cents. Go check it out. CodeAcademy.com. Check out just the first couple of windows. It'll you'll learn JavaScript without even realizing that you're being taught something. More than 2,000 lessons have been submitted in addition to the big flagship joint, including those that compose new CSS and HTML curricula. User submissions will likely contribute to courses in other languages soon. So there we go. It should be a bunch of other stuff that they are going to roll out.
Shout outs to Marty Cornegay.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's going on, man?
And if you've never typed in any code for anything, get yourself some HTML. And CSS is it's a bigger, younger brother that teaches you how to move stuff around and arrange your stuff. Once you actually figure out how to put stuff there, do it. It's good for you.
Do it now. So Eagle in the chat room asks, so the question becomes, how much longer will major colleges / universities be relevant?
Oh, dude. What a wonderful question. I have heard more than a few places talk about the next big American bubble to burst is going to be the education bubble. I don't know that I believe that. A lot of people say that the online for-profit institutions are going to take them down, take down the Institute of Higher Learning that to which I've become accustomed. I'm not so sure about that. I think I think it's possible, but I think that's way generations down the road. As long as institutions of higher learning put out competent graduates that do the job, I think employers are more likely to stay with those kinds of institutes because they're I mean, when you're dealing with big money, you are by nature risk averse. Do I want to hire this guy from this institute that doesn't have a track record? So the whole deal is you get a track record by cranking out successful graduates, and you attract those that are going to be successful graduates by having a track record. So it's like an endless loop. You get the circle's gotta get broken somehow.
I still think you need like a classroom environment though. It's like you can't play on teams online. So
You're right.
I think you need that organized, teacher, lesson plan, curriculum, somehow, some way.
I think the online universities are clearly getting better at doing that. But I think the one thing that gives the universities, the brick and mortar universities, the inside track, in my mind, it's really weird. My job is online, but when I went and got my master's degree, the online classes were the ones that challenged me the most. I could go into a classroom and I did better. I enjoyed it. I did better. It was easier for me to do well. That I think part of it is the structure and the idea. I didn't have to motivate myself like you do online. You got to take the initiative and get your butt into the computer and do. And partially, I think maybe it's the idea that I'm on a computer all day, and then the last thing I want to do and what passes for free time to get back on the computer again. Eileen chimes in. Everyone in traditional college will be there on scholarships, and people in the IT department can't get paid. Ouch. Colleges will just be places where sports guys go to party, which some are right now anyway. I think I'm inclined to disagree. I come from a long, proud line of educators. And it's funny because I also say as a joke I come from a long, proud line of... never mind. It depends on which one suits me.
I mean, Miss Eileen says...
I come from a long, proud line of preachers, and sometimes I say I come from a long, proud line of... alcohol drinkers. It just depends. But in reality, I come from a long, proud tradition of teachers, and higher ed is, dude. I work in the same university that my mom and dad met. I'm the Black Beaver Cleaver, for Pete's sake. So it's going to be really, really hard for you to convince me, just on the personal level, that the traditional colleges are going anywhere unless they fail to do what it is they've been doing for their entire history in the United States.
Man, the payout's not the same. Once you get your degree,
that is true.
You're struggling,
and that is true. But the cost is skyrocketed. It is ballooned, and that's what brought this thing up to begin with. The idea that this may be the next major bubble in America. I was peeking through that book I was telling you about, the book Duke Sucks, and they were talking about graduation rates, and they were talking about how Duke is the college for the elite rich kids. Did you know that over 90% of Duke students are on financial aid of some kind?
No, I thought they all had scholarships.
Maybe they counted scholarships as financial aid, but the truth is, very, very few people can do this and cash out like most of the people did when I was coming up. You are absolutely right. People are coming out with a huge amount of debt, and they spend their first. They're like, a lot of times they're doing now. A BA graduate now comes out of school with the same burden as that a doctor comes out with. And it used to be just only medical students that would come out with hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt, and they had to work their first 10 years just to pay off the debt that it took to put them through school. But now apparently everyone has that.
Yeah, a couple comments from the chat room. Miss
Okay.
Eileen says student loan debt is higher than credit card debt. Egoan says, if you want an STD, you go to college. If you want to learn, you go somewhere else. And Tim says, right now, it's not the type of the degree that matters. It's just
that's such a great
that
point.
you have to have one. Which, yeah, I think once, if we get a chance to redefine what having a degree really means,
I think
that will kind of stabilize traditional colleges. But
think
right
you're right.
now, it's just kind of hard. Well, It's kind of up in the air, man.
I wholeheartedly agree, man. I'm glad we stumbled into this conversation because we really needed to.
I like it.
But the idea that it's not the type of degree that matters. It's just that you have one. Tim Arthur touches on something that I think is really important. At this point, when I was going to school in the 70s, going to elementary school, it was considered completely honorable and commonplace that you graduated from high school and got a job in the working place, and you could rise to your level of competence and afford to do those things that middle class people do and afford to support your family. That day is gone, and at this point, having a college degree is a requirement like having a high school degree was in the 70s. And Damon and I were talking some months back. It's going to come to a day, maybe in our lifetime, that you're going to need a master's degree just in order to achieve that same level of middle classdom as you needed back then, or need with a bachelor's degree today.
But what does that mean, though? Like, do you think you can define the value of your degree?
Yeah.
Even from not even using now. Let's say this the time when you got it.
Let's rewind and talk about my bachelor's degree that I got in the 80s. I was on the extended disco remix plan because, well, it's a long story. I was young. How do I put this?
Dun dun dun.
I had no expectation of going any farther in school at the time that I got out, and I thought I had everything that I needed to earn a middle class living, and it could very well have turned out that way, but I think my life would have been very, very different had I not done that, because I think employers, especially those that are supplying, again, what I'll go back to it, middle class wages and compensation packages, I think that they expect a bachelor's degree at the very minimum, because it shows that you are capable of taking something to completion and you are able to navigate human systems in a way that perhaps online degrees don't. I think this goes beyond the actual content of the body of knowledge that you learn. I think for a lot of companies and employers, it's about being able to being socialized, being a good fit, knowing how to deal with people and things like authority, and taking this thing all the way to completion. Maybe it's just me.
Marty Cornegay says, I think our community college are the best thing smoking right now for students coming out of high school.
I think
this
you're right.
option gives you applied education as opposed to the
theoretical
education that 4-year colleges currently give.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I mean, it's cheaper.
It's cheaper,
and shorter,
it's cheaper. It's cheaper. It's faster, and you're absolutely right. It is. I think it's still completely accepted within the at-large employer community to go in there and get that specialized knowledge and get out. And when you're ready to take your career elsewhere, you go back and do it again. I think he's absolutely right. The community college system, especially in North Carolina, is the best thing smoking.
Tech Toy says, "Well, shout out to Tech Toys. What's going on, man?
Hey, man, thanks for coming back.
Worth the money only because folks that hire in most cases will not even open the door for an interview without a degree."
That is the point that I was that he made, that I was trying to make earlier, that Tech Toys made so much more eloquently than I am. The idea that you got to have one just to get into the interview door. A lot of it just weeds out everyone else. I don't know why.
But like, what if you have one of those kids, like kids today that's like making apps and all that stuff now, and they had tons of experience and their resumes are just filled up just because of the day and age that we live in. It's easy for them to learn this thing earlier. So
that's a really good question. I think that there are going to be those exceptional. I'm talking more in generalities. I think in any case, especially when we're talking about education, there are going to be those wonderkins, those intellectual freaks of nature that can just do this. I think any employer that finds that guy finds that guy or girl is going to scoop him up. We're not talking about those people because they are relatively rare in the overall scheme of things. Yeah, I think they're clearly going to be those exceptions, those people that are capable of grinding this thing out and are self-learners and self-starters, and you can just throw them in a dark room with a terminal and they'll crank out code and you throw raw meat and then close the door behind you really quick. and they just eat that stuff up. Those people have been around for a while and they'll continue to thrive, especially as our economy becomes more and more information based. But I'm talking about the rest of us. I'm talking about the aggregate, the on average.
All right, well, it's 30 minutes past the hour, so let's go ahead and take a break. Very good conversation, but let's do something even cooler.
Yo, if you want to continue this thing, somebody call in. You got something to say? Come and say it.
It's about time for Daily Booth to get your cameras ready. Show us what you're doing.
What it look like.
What it be like.
Are you wearing?
What are you wearing? Daily Booth is where we go to take pictures, y'all. dailybooth.com. You can use your camera on your machine, laptop, iPhone if you got the app.
If you're way old school, you could just get a picture out of your yearbook, scan it, and then usually
go ahead and upload it.
Yeah, you can do it that way.
So you can follow me at MichaelRender or dailybooth.com/MichaelRender, dailybooth.com/Damon Nolan, and dailybooth.com/DBFunky. If you're not following us, go ahead and upload your picture, put Room 3026 Live in there, and we'll follow you, and we'll see what it do.
So what up?
So
who's posting? Who's in the?
Hold on, let me try to get mine. Oh.
See, what's wrong with you?
My bad.
You got your playlist, man. Hit stop.
I'm trying.
See?
All right. My bad. My DJing skills is rusty.
Nice.
So I'm going in Daily Booth. Let me log in.
See who's in
and
there.
get my cameras.
Here,
jumping.
we could do it like we did before. Hold on.
All right. Hurry up.
Y'all find something to do. Talk amongst yourselves. Upload your pictures, whatever.
Yeah, they got some pictures in there. All right. Yay. So I'm uploading. I see Ego Ants in there with a tattoo. Very cool. And he got a whole bunch of pictures, man. Nice picture.
What's that? Oh, let me see.
Is that a real tattoo or one of the ones you made?
It's not one of those newfangled iron.
It's not the vibrating
tat.
Nokia tattoos. No.
Those scare me. Those scare me.
Got to be a special type of man to,
or
woman to.
You got to be more of a man than me. That's all I'm saying. May not take all that much, but still, it is what it is.
Big Tim, what's going on, man? I see your picture.
What up, dude? Thanks for joining us as always.
I'm trying to upload mine, man, but obviously my operating system is giving me rainbows right now.
Rainbows? Is that what it is?
Yeah, spiral rainbow.
Crazy.
All right, it's coming.
There we go.
Anybody else taking some?
Who else is in? What?
Rainbows. I hate thee.
What's the problem?
The rainbows keep coming, man.
Okay.
I'm trying to upload the picture and I can't. So I'll get to that. So while I'm trying to upload,
Ego Ants in the house?
Ego Ants is in the house. Tim's is in the house. And I can't look at the chat room, so I'm just trying to remember.
Here, I got you.
All right, there's Ego Ants, latest and greatest.
Thank you very much for joining us. And your valuable input as always.
I'm trying.
So what are you doing?
It's still giving me rainbows. And I can't click on the chat, so
forget about that. Here's the chat. The chat room's right here. You got stories?
I can't do anything right now.
What?
See, Daily Booth just crashed my browser.
Oh no! Does that mean the chat room's through too?
No, it's still working.
Okay.
I think. No, it's not.
Oh no.
Hopefully we're still on the air.
If you crash things, well, are we off?
Nah, I can't tell. So just act like we on until proven off.
Can you hear us? Hello, chat room. Can you hear us? How about
I think my camera is stuck too. Oh man. Yeah, Skype just the clock for Skype stopped working.
Uh, can
Uh
you hear?
oh. All right. We
Okay.
got some movement.
Okay.
Can you hear us? Are we still on?
Okay. Cool. All right then. So apparently Mike is not messing up. So then, okay, so stay out of there then.
My browser's still stuck though. I can't click on it.
Okay, leave everything alone. Don't touch nothing.
Sorry.
It's cool. Marty
had
Cornegie
Photoshop
chimes in
open.
from our previous conversation. Wait, man, let's scroll all the way back up. Tim Arthur, I did not know that you had an education degree, dude.
Balling.
So I would like to, for those who have degrees of any kind outside of high school, any education, talk about your personal experience and talk about what your degree has done or what you see its value, if
State your
any.
degree and state its value.
Indeed. Great idea, sir. Marty Cornegie chimes in. I think our community colleges. Oh yeah, we went to that. Worth the money because folks that hire in most cases will not even open the door, and that's kind of where we left off. And Eagle Ant says, "I hear you. A lot of companies are risk averse and won't take a chance on someone with no degree. I am fortunate enough to have gotten into the tech market early and established a good name for myself. I'm kind of in the same position because and then I kind of got the technical official education on the way. Pick up the phone. It might be a second because of Mike messing up and
Yeah, my computer is like choking right now. You can't hear it.
give
But
it
it
a
is coughing.
give a second. As soon as he can pick up the phone, as soon as the browser catches up to whatever it is he's done to it.
Yeah, I don't think there's no daily booth today.
Yeah, that's right. Leon is not a slouch by no stretch. I seen your resume, dude. You got more than a little bit of education to you. I forgot about that.
I think this is Leon. Hold on.
Hit me.
Hey, can you hear me?
LL. Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey,
What's
turn
going
him up
on,
over
man?
there. Turn him up on the
Mike.
board if you'd be so kind. So,
Hello? Just can't hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you. What's going on?
Oh, what up? Just a couple of things about your education comment. I really do hate the fact that it costs so much for education, but as an employer, what you're looking at is, does the person have the patience to learn constant new things that are worthless? And that's what an undergrad degree tells you. Because technology changes so much, things change so much. Can you put a person through a whole bunch of not this crazy task, and they have the patience to go through and complete it?
you think so?
The second part to that is, if a person is highly skilled in what they do, since the world is so small in each area, the skilled people will come to the top whether they have a degree or not.
I
So
think
you
you're
either
right.
have to be one or two things. You have to have a lot of degrees behind your name, or you have to be highly skilled at what you do and let other people know you're highly skilled.
So you think that we're talking specifically about a bachelor's degree? You think a lot of what a lot of people would call theoretical education, or that foundation upon which learning happens, is you were saying that stuff is worthless?
It's worthless, except the fact that it lets me know you have the ability to learn worthless information as the world changes.
Worthless
Shows that you
information.
have patience. Yeah, because that's all it is. It sits you through a whole bunch of classes, 120 hours of stuff that really means very little in reality in the world.
Huh.
And what happens is, so now as the world changes, I can look at you and say, okay, you have the patience and the fortitude to put up a whole bunch of, like they call it a BS degree, BS, to get to the next step.
That is very, very interesting. I would not have labeled that stuff that I picked up before, the hardcore, real, tried and true coding skills as valuable. I probably so at the time, but in retrospect, I see a lot of that stuff as like you kind of sort of explain. Maybe we agree more than we disagree. I see that as the foundation of learning how you learn how to learn.
Right.
And so I think a lot of that stuff, while it may not be immediately practical, it's hard for me to call it worthless, and maybe that has more to do with my emotional makeup. Like I said earlier, I come from a long line of educators.
It's worthless to the skill you're going to do every day. It is, but the point of it is to teach you how to learn.
Fair enough.
And that's what I was talking about. The world changes so much. You want people who know how to learn.
Fair enough. I appreciate that. That is very, very valuable. You got more than a couple of degrees and educations under your belt, and you've worked in more than a couple of institutes of higher learning. So that is more than a little bit valuable, especially to this conversation. Thanks, man. Hang out if you hang out on the line if you are so inclined. Egoant continues. I worked 3 years in a job as a contractor and then couldn't be hired because I don't have a degree. Maybe. So you're talking about you have demonstrated the skill set and hooked up during your 3 years as a contractor and could not get back on the train because of a lack of degree. That is wow. That's just mind-boggling. Truett, Tech Toys says mine is a foundation, but mostly self-taught. Yeah, I can relate. A lot of my stuff was self-taught, and I picked up the formalized knowledge along the way. Marty continues in the conversation. How many people are working in the same field that their degree is in? Degree in English Mass Comm. You know what? My first degree was in broadcast communications as well, Truett. Really funny. You might have heard the story before. I was working in radio stations all over the state and did some writing in television, and slowly but surely, as the fairness doctrine and the laws against ownership began to go away, I used to had the option to just go across the street if I was having a bad day and could find another job, and those options slowly but surely left because there were only one or two owners of all the radio stations in any listening area. Worse still, I could not go over to the next town because that same company owned it. So I couldn't tell my boss, "Screw you guys, I'm going home," because there were only a handful of owners of all the commercial radio stations nationwide. And during that time, I'm a little more relaxed now. I was much more inclined to say, "Screw you guys, I'm going home." I'm less inclined to do that these days. But that was around the same time that the web was taking off, so I already had kind of an advertising background. So it just the transition from there into my current occupation was just a blessing and pretty unique. So
if you can take orders and follow instructions,
well, that's going to be
college bound. You can graduate and then get a job. Because
is that the secret to life in today's society?
I mean, I think it just shows that college is just that environment to show and prove. Like, hey, can you follow these instructions? Can you meet the approval of a teacher? And then that kind of deems you as being hireable because that's how your job's probably going to go. You're going to get tasked with things that you're going to have to do, and you get compensated with money for doing it. And getting the opportunity is your degree. So I don't know though, but like for the self-taught people, like for me, for my major, I'm an art major, but the program at the University Central doesn't teach coding, so I had to learn that on my own to get the job that I got here. But
so that really does go both goes to Leon's point. But
I think by going to college, it trained me to be able to learn on my own, or put me in that mindset to go seek information, like doing research and stuff like that. It kind of sets you up where you probably are better off trying to go on your own from that point versus going on your own like right out of high school. But who knows? Is there anybody in the chat room or on the show that kind of learned on their own from the very beginning and didn't have any type of, I guess, higher education, didn't go to a community college first before they kind of ventured off into that industry or whatever?
That's a really good question. That's a really good question because now we're talking really much more we're talking much more about the a career path and having the education as a tool for that.
Marty Cordigay says, so a college education is like going online for a fraternity. Yes and no, maybe so, sort of, kind of. It's kind of close, but not exact. But I can see where you're going with that one.
Well, clearly.
You do take orders and follow instructions and get critiqued when you online for a fraternity. I will say that, but the payout's a little bit different. They don't hand out degrees.
Wow. So we've got a couple of self-starters, self-teachers, Tim and Ego Ant, Egoin says, I have zero education. And Tim Arthur follows, says, all self-taught, completely self-taught from the age of 12. I mean, I was programming in like BASIC when I was a preteen because it was there. Got a Commodore 64 computer and went to town. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. The Commie 64. Tim, that's what I'm talking about.
See, I don't know. I don't even know if I could do it on my own because it's kind of like college. Like it's hard. It's hard to explain, man, because people ask you for design work, so you kind of just get thrown into the water right then and there to learn how to, I guess flourish as a designer. So, but it's not really self-taught because. If you just want extra money, it's the mindset. It's the mindset. It's the mindset.
There it is. I think you really touched on the essence. A lot of this has more to do with the mindset.
Egoin's the man, and if he started self-teaching at 12, I mean, what if everybody was like that? Then where would we be?
If everyone had that kind of acumen, then we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Egoaz says he doesn't take orders remarkably well, and when faced with boring tasks, he usually writes a bot to do them for him.
Nice.
See, I wish I had that skill set.
Nice. I'm looking at this thing called The Amazing Habits of 8 to 18-year-olds. TV still rules. Media use by platform. This is from the Kaiser Family Foundation. Talks about kids' use of media by platform. Among all 8 to 18-year-olds, the amount of time spent with each medium in a particular day. Total media exposure, 10 hours and 45 minutes per day. 4.5 hours on TV, 2.5 hours music, audio, about an hour and a half on computers, another hour and 15 minutes on video games.
That's it.
Well, this is an average, on weekends. That probably, so another 30 minutes on print and just less than 30 minutes on movies. Wow.
That can't be right.
Among all 8 to 18-year-olds, the total amount of media exposure in a typical day over time. In 1999, it was 7.5 hours. In 2004, it was right about 8.5 hours, an increase of an hour and 4 minutes. And now, in the next 5 years, it increased by 2 hours and 12 minutes to 10 hours and 45 minutes of media exposure per day.
More content.
We just talked about in the previous infographic. This is a series of infographics coming from my first call. Blog thing when I'm in, shorthanded for the show. BusinessInsider.com, and I'm gonna drop that in the chat room for you if you want to follow along with these infographics and slides and stuff. They are actually pretty fascinating. So, what do kids do when they're multitasking? Among 7 to 12th graders present who multitask most of the time. They are using each medium. They're listening to music, using a computer, watching TV, reading, and or playing video games in some combination.
Yeah, all computers can pretty much do all of those things.
Well, if you've got a television and a computer and
but you don't even need
yeah, that's true. I mean, you can do it. You can in
watching
theory.
TV does not mean they're using the television.
That's true. You could. I mean, in theory, you can do this in a single device, but I would speculate that more often than not, that's not the case.
Yeah, it's probably 2 screens.
Among all 8 to 18-year-olds present who own each item, 18% own an iPod or an MP3 player. That was in 2004. Now, it's 76%. From 18 to 76% ownership from all 8 to 18 years old in the span of 5 years. Cell phone, in 2004, that was 39%. Today, a full 2/3, 66% of 8 to 18-year-olds own a cell.
That's crazy.
12% owned a laptop in 2004. Today, 29%. Among all 8 to 18-year-olds, time spent in cell phone activities in a typical day, 33 minutes talking on a cell phone in a typical day.
That's it? Oh, I guess because they're texting.
Well, yeah, just it says talking in a different color and in italics, so that implies talking and not just holding it and texting. 15 minutes of TV, 17 minutes of games, 17 minutes of music from their cell phone. That's talking about how they use a cell phone. 33 minutes talking, and the other 49 minutes almost evenly split with music, TV, and games. Among all 8 to 18-year-olds, the amount of time spent with each medium in a typical day. Did we do this?
No.
4 hours and 29 minutes on TV content, which, like you said, is not necessarily sitting on the couch.
Possible.
2 hours 31 minutes music, audio. Hour and 29 minutes computers. Hour and 13 minutes video games. Yeah, I believe I actually touched on that one.
Yeah, it was, but okay. It was a difference. Yeah, all right.
But live TV consumption is dropping. Live TV in 1999 was 3 hours and 5 minutes. Stayed pretty much the same 5 years after that in 2004. Live TV, 3 hours and 4 minutes, only a minute less on the average. But in this past 5 year span, in the 5 year span after that, 2009, it drops down to 2 hours and 39 minutes. That's a difference of 25 minutes. So the amount of time spent with TV content over time. DVDs is taking a slow but sure bigger chunk as live TV goes down. And time-shifted TV, which is, I guess, the TiVo and Roku and the DVR, that takes a big chunk out as well. As live TV goes down, those other forms, although it's not all that big. DVR consumption, 14 minutes in 1999, same in 2004, only scooched up a little bit to 22 minutes in 2009. Online TV consumption is growing and will soon replace DVR and DVDs. When we talked about those numbers in the last slide, online TV consumption is growing and will probably overtake those other ones. iPod TV consumption also growing, another threat to the DVR and DVD numbers if you are paying attention, because they didn't even show up in 1999 and 2004. Of course, 2009. It is up to 16 minutes. And lastly, TV consumption on a cell phone. We're betting that's iPhone-based playback, not necessarily Mobi TV. Is also taking a 15-minute chunk out of the whole thing. So if you're watching an average of 15 minutes on a cell phone or 16 minutes on an iPod, 24 minutes a day online, 22 minutes on the DVR, 32 minutes on the DVD, 2 hours and 39 minutes of live TV. We're looking at 4 hours and 29 minutes per day if you are between the ages of 8 and 18 on average. What do you think? Who's got kids? Who knows how Oh, dude, Tim Arthur watched the Rowdy Pirate video on Netflix. I got to check that out. Taker, 20-0. Oh no, we've devolved into wrestling conversation.
Oh my bad. I put that in that time.
That was WrestleMania over the weekend. I did not purchase the pay-per-view. I very seldom, if ever, do. But I've been really busy at the job today, so I didn't really get a chance to look up the results.
And besides the award shows and probably boxing and wrestling, that's probably where the live numbers is coming from now. Especially from teens.
Well, you got to think sports and.
Yeah.
And clearly, any of those things that the Twitterverse is jumping about as it's playing for the first time. I saw Game of Thrones things were jumping when it debuted. American Idol when it plays.
Yeah, Walking Dead and all that stuff.
Yeah, a lot of those live shows. I think people get involved enough so that they go out of their way to see the to see the live thing when it happens, because that's the first time. That's the first opportunity to get it. And that is one of those things that major television outlets are doing right.
Yeah,
they're holding on to that stuff until they put it on the actual tube, and then they eke it out to the
And if that video game statistic is actually accurate with only an hour a day, I think that shows for the gaming industry, as far as like console gaming, that I think I'll say my generation or a little bit before mine, those people are all grown up, and we're just not playing games anymore like that. And I think the younger generation, it's, it's bad for them because they don't. I don't think the type of games that came out. It's like they were just better than they are now. And I just think it's just a different group of people, and they just consume, the content a little bit different. So because I remember back in the day, man, we would be on Halo for like 4 to 6 hours a night.
But we're talking 8 to 18
That's
today.
what I'm saying.
Well, and it is common knowledge that the average gamer is closer to 30 than he is 20. And as far as where their money's coming from, they already know those guys they're less likely to be teenagers and more likely to have to be.
We're the college freshmen, the 18-year-old freshmen and high school seniors that you saying they're not gaming like that at night. They can't. If the numbers is right, I guess they're not.
I'm clearly they're gaming, but and there are going to be some of those that get totally immersed in it. But on the average, if these numbers are accurate, and there's
Ego Ant says derogative or a word before. I don't know if I can say that on the air, but. Blank you, Zynga. I blame you for the death of story in video games. It's possible. I think it was before Zynga though, but you're right.
So tell us explain what is Zynga is clearly a video game.
I mean, their games that they come out with have no storyline whatsoever.
It's just blow everything up.
Well, Zynga makes like a Pioneer.
Right.
Yeah, all those games. And you just jump in and play and just hope that, other people help you do whatever you need to do. And if they don't, you probably leave. And if you are, people probably think you're cheating. So, yeah, I can see where he's coming from with that. Because, there's no storylines with him at all.
You just go in
and you just plant and level up. And there's no point.
Did Zynga do Mob Wars as well?
I think so.
But you're right. There was no
Farmville is one of the.
All right,
games.
Farmville would be the big one, right?
So, what is this?
It's an iOS game.
I can see that.
Yes,
because it looks good.
It's called Infinity Blade.
Oh yeah, I know about that.
So it's just 99 cents. Just get it, apparently, is what everyone's saying. Just get it. It's 99 cents.
Yeah, it's one of those games on the mobile device that you have to play. Infinity Blade is fun.
Uh-oh. Google back into the hardware space. Wall Street Journal reports that Google plans to open an online store for Android tablets like they did back for the Nexus 1. They stopped offering that stuff online and farmed it out to guys like T-Mobile and the service providers, but apparently they're back.
So new online, Google tablet?
Yeah, online for open an online store for Android tablets. Speculation has been pretty high. What they'll be like, how much they'll cost, and who will make them. New report in the New York Times: a Google employee officially says on the record that the company's first tablet will launch later this year. Asus will likely make the first tablet, which is likely the long-rumored 7-inch Nexus tablet. But comes with ice cream sandwich on it. If that's the one, that's some gear lust right there. That report says the tablet will be priced to compete with Amazon's $199 Kindle Fire. It'll also run the latest version of It's Gonna Be an Ice Cream Sandwich, Joy, for under $200. Baby, turn your web radio up. Let me buy one.
90 seconds.
Let me buy one, sweetie. So Eric Schmidt, the Google CEO, slipped up in December when he said Google will market a tablet of the highest quality within the next 6 months. So that looks like that's how that's going to play out. Stay tuned as that development plays out. I may just walk in with one and do the show from there.
All right. You can hear the music. I want to give a thanks to Alan Tran, DB Funky, Dyslexic in America, Ego and Tech Toys, Tim Arthur, Miss Eileen, everyone else that was in the chat room with us today.
Dude, Damon, fearless leader, get well soon, dude. This is hard.
I know, man. You make it easy. I want to thank you guys for listening and jumping in the chat room. Don't forget you can...
Y'all bailed us out of another one. Thank you so much.
Don't forget you can catch us here every Monday through Friday from 1 to 2. We do this every day, all day, Monday through Friday, 1 to 2. You can get the show notes from DamonNolan.com. You connect with us on Twitter at Damon Nolan, at DB Funky, and myself at MichaelRender.com. You can also check us out on Facebook in the Facebook group, Facebook.com/groups/Room3026Live. Again, thank you
so much.
We will be back tomorrow. Again, Damon, get well soon.
10
Help
seconds.
us out. And that's pretty much it. So
See you tomorrow. Maybe we'll have some stories.
Yeah,
Guys,
maybe.
this was a great discussion with the education and everything, too. Thank you again.
Education is very valuable.
Now get back to work.
Deuces.